Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, returning for episode 102 in the series. So over the course of these last 100 plus episodes, you probably heard me use the word crazy once in a while as a non-acceptable thing to allow your state of mind to be operating in your practice. And I want to weave this into this episode again, really to hopefully get everyone there to have that be a non-starter in your practice, because really you should never be dealing with crazy when it comes to your patients, your staff, your associate doctors, maybe your self-docs. I've become expert over the last 25 plus years of handling crazy, because when you know how to handle crazy, you don't go crazy yourself. So if you feel yourself going crazy after your day at work, or when you get home from your practice, or going into your practice, it's probably because you don't have a grip on how to handle crazy. So what's great about what I teach is I help people get better at handling crazy. And I don't mean, certifiable crazy, which could be the case, which I'm going to give you an example of. Because, once you get to that point, there's no help. There's no helping certain patients like that, certain staff like that. And unfortunately, I've encountered doctors over the years, which hopefully nobody watching these videos is in this category, that I just can't help. Because it's just too far gone, and I hate to say that because I never want to write anybody off in terms of getting them help, but it just gets to a point where you just can't help certain people, right? It just happens, and you've seen that, and it's frustrating because for those of you that really care about your patients and staff, you want to help them, but and it's this internal struggle because you don't know what to do and how long must this go on, how much is this going to drag you down in practice and in life because you're unable to help these people. And the problem is, as analytical people, as men and women of science who are watching this, we try to apply logic to insanity, right? You can't do that. You can't apply logic to insanity and expect it's going to work, because just by inherently insanity is crazy and logic doesn't apply, right? There's no logical straight thinking going on there, and you can't fix it. I think in many episodes back, I shared some crazy stories of things I've encountered in my time that you just laugh at and shake your head at, or your eyebrows go up, or your head, and you can't believe this will be true. But I've seen all manner of crazy that I just can't believe I've seen in my time. One story I never told that I'll share here. This is probably the most extreme example of something at one point, putting in the category of can't help you. And I remember starting out with a client few years back. And I'm not sure, I won't give even the state that this client was in, but let's just say it was in my area of the country, New York metropolitan area, of a doctor I was working with. And I go in the early phases of what we do. We go in and do an analysis and discovery process and get a chance to meet the team behind closed doors. And it's great when you speak to team members behind closed doors. If you do this the right way, you get a lot of great information. I'm very good at separating fact from opinion, as are my coaches, because just because someone tells it to you doesn't mean it's true. But you do it long enough, you can kind of sift that out, fact from opinion. But this was pretty obvious because their person had physical proof. Because I'm sitting down, this is going back several years now, with a relatively new hire at the front desk, and this doctor said, well, we have all kinds of staff issues here, staff problems. Not uncommon. I hear this a lot, and we find out as I'm doing these interviews that a lot of this has to do with the doctor, because this is the case. The doctor has a blind spot to seeing that the biggest problem in the practice is the doctor, him. So, but this is a unique case because I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this woman behind closed doors. She goes, I don't know, I'm new here, but I don't know if I want to work here anymore. I think I've only been here a short period of time, but I'm thinking I really shouldn't be here. I said, why not? What happened? And she said, well, and she had obviously a fat lip. You could tell that her lip was like she hit it, or did something happen to her lip? And I said, what happened? What happened anyway? She said, well, I got this fat lip on the job here. I said, did you get into an argument, or was there a fight between you and another staff member? She says, no. I said, the doctor hit me. I'm like, the doctor hit you? I'm like, what do you mean the doctor hit you? Yeah, it's on my first day here. I was working at the front desk. And the doctor hit me in the face, though, but he didn't do it on purpose. Oh, he didn't do it on purpose. Oh, that's good news. What happened? Well, he was trying to hit his mother. I'm like, what? So literally, just picture this. The mother was in the practice working at the front desk, and this doctor reaches over to smack his mom, which is really sad. I shouldn't be laughing. It's pretty sad that's the case, and hits the staff member in the mouth. Think about that. Just try to comprehend what I'm saying right now. If you're just shaking your head and your mouth is dropped, jaw dropped open, can you imagine what I'm hearing this whole thing like this point? So, and he's like, oh, well, please don't say anything, because I think today he has his gun with him. Is where he was wearing his gun in the practice. on a gun. This is not like this is not like in Texas, ladies and gentlemen. This is like and even if you have one, it's not a good practice to carry a holstered weapon outside your scrubs or under your scrubs while you're treating patients. It's kind of off-putting to some people. And why would you even need a gun unless you're working in the most dangerous of areas in your practice? Right? That's not a very good thing to do. And you know, so and it got worse from there, talking about like, you know, well, you know, if the doctor maybe if you had a bad drinking day or something like that, and it just escalated from there. And that was like, okay, money back. Okay, nothing I can do in this particular situation if that's what we're dealing with right here. It's like not like a dangerous situation for staff and anybody else affiliated, including me and my coaches. All right, but that's an extreme, crazy example in the practice. All right, obviously, you should never get to that point. That should never be an allowable situation. I mean, that's like bad news, you know, to say the least, if that's the case. But you know what? There are different orders of magnitude here that can be occurring in your practice when it comes to crazy. And the problem was that culture of insanity had been going on for so long that people had witnessed this kind of abusive and verbal behavior, even physical behavior going on, that they allowed it. They condoned and accepted it or turned a blind eye to it. That's how it can get in a practice like that. Such an aberrated environment can occur for so long that we become accustomed to it, right? And it's like you walk in, and we walk in doing observations, and we look at these practices, it's painfully apparent to us there's a lot of crazy operation going on here in the practice. A lot of crazy stuff going on, all right? But at least fixable crazy. And when you bring crazy to the forefront, say, hey, take a look at this. You don't even realize that, and light bulb goes off, and awareness happens, and change can occur, and there's, well, I want to change that. I don't want this to happen in my practice. Wasn't aware that bad. That's good. But when people are in denial about what's going on in your practice, that's a bad thing, you know. And there's nothing we can do with people that don't want to confront or be in denial with crazy that's going on in the practice, and accept that as a normal operating state. Because I can tell you, sooner or later, that's going to be the end of it for you, for your practice. And you know, you don't want to be in a practice like this. You don't want to create that kind of environment. You know, why do that to yourself as well? Especially if you have the recognition that, hey man, something's not right about this practice. It's really stressing me out. It's bringing me down. A lot of crazy things happening here. The day was crazy how it ran. If you're saying that every single day, the day is running crazy, everyone, that's not a good thing. You know, I have these people come in, and these patients are driving me crazy every single day. And they might even be crazy. It's be the way we're handling them. And it's causing crazy scenarios for you to come up in your practice on a day-to-day basis, you see? So the idea, we want sanity in our practice. We want peace in our practice. We want calm. We want serenity, effortless prosperity going on in our practice. That's the kind of environment we want to create, not crazy chaos, you know, overwhelm, you know, nuttiness that we deal with every time, and it's not acceptable. Shouldn't be. And you know, sometimes we have no basis of comparison, so we don't know how it can be. We think this is the way it is everywhere else. Sometimes, you know, it's nice to have a basis of comparison from outside people coming in, looking in, and say, look, this is the way it should be. This is the way we've seen it in many practices. This is the kind of environment we created in many practices. And just getting the crazy out of the environment in so many ways. First of all, it's very freeing. To relieve that mental burden on people. You want to see financial growth in a practice, instantaneous numbers and money spike, get the crazy out of your practice. That's for first step. You don't have to even learn a single script or system or anything that we teach. Just that alone will make a massive impact on your bottom line. And yes, it's one of the most difficult things to take on in your practice when you have that. That's why you bring in outside people, third parties, to help mediate, navigate these particular situations, because you know what? That's what we're good at. Right? We come in here and intervene. It has like the word intervene, like intervention. It's like an intervention coming in there to say, okay, look guys, let's sit everybody down. We have to do a little group therapy here, group work on this group. And that's how it is. The only difference is, you know, some of these people aren't going to make it, all right, in the practice. That's the way it goes. Because we don't have time. You don't have time. My team doesn't have time to do rehab, right? Rehabilitate these people. We can't. We don't have the time, energy, resources, or the clinical skills or education to do that, right? And asking to do that or expect to do that, it's not going to work. And you can't do it. This is not what you want to be. You didn't sign up, docs, to go in your office to be a psychologist or psychiatrist every single day. Right? You can't write out prescriptions for these people, right? You could try to, but you get yourself in trouble. You don't want to be doing that, all right? So the only way, the best thing you do have as owner of your practice is the ability to make change. to make you say, you know what, I no longer, I'm willing to take this anymore or allow this anymore, and I'm going to bring change in, and I'm going to bring change into my life and get on a path to sanity and stability, and life gets better at that point, and everything can happen from that. But you can't work in a crazy environment or allow a crazy environment to occur. So this is what's going on in your life. You don't want to get, because I'm sure one time in that practice, that crazy story I told you about, it wasn't always like way, right? That's kind of things degenerated into that for various reasons, starting at the top in that practice. And you never want to get to that state. That's an extreme example, but there's variations that happen every day. So do something about it. So if this thing struck home and say, well, I'm speaking truth, get up tomorrow, start a different day with getting on the path to going in a different direction of stability, sanity, and wellness overall in our practice. A healthy, mental practice, right, is a healthy dental practice. Look, I just made another one up, just like that, on the spot. Didn't even plan to say that. Came right off the top of my head. A healthy mental practice is a healthy dental practice. All right, I gotta coin that one right away. Anyway, thanks for listening and watching these episodes. If you're enjoying them, please share them out there. I always like to hear your input and for future episodes. And I'll be back shortly with another one.